Welcome back, hour two of the Vince Coglianese Show, coming at you. I'm Derek Hunter, sitting in for Vince Coglianese. You can find me by searching Derek Hunter on the internet thing there. Comes right up. Although there's a dude who writes like pirate books who also shares my name. I am not that guy. The Pirate Club, no, not me. Anyway, I don't know why my book came out. Like the people were like, "There's a pirate guy." Like I'm aware of the pirate guy. All right, I am not the pirate guy. I'm not writing books about pirates. I'm not even reading books about pirates, okay? It's just not doing it. Nothing against pirates. Pirate Americans are some of the finest Americans that we've ever known. The Republicans are now putting forward, or I guess they put their own names in. They're desperately trying to find anybody who can get to 217 votes. Anything. They're putting Byron Donalds forward. Byron Donalds he's got all the problems that everybody else has. He is an ardent Trump supporter. So some people go, he's too conservative. I couldn't possibly. I don't want to. But then he's black, too. So in today's identity politics world, like, but you know what? If I don't vote for him, I'm going to be a racist. I'm this, that. It's just a mess. Vote for anybody. I don't care. Get somebody in there. Put Kevin McCarthy back in there. I love how these people think that the speaker is going to make a difference. The speaker, newsflash, I hope you're sitting down for this. I don't mean to ruin anybody's dinner right before you're sitting in traffic, more likely on the Beltway, cursing dinner, going, oh, if only Republicans could get a speaker, this traffic wouldn't be. No, it would. But who the Speaker of the House is barely matters on a good day. Really, because it's 1/2 of 1/3 of a branch of government. That's it. That's it. And you see how it is every time Republicans have the House, but Democrats have the Senate, or vice versa. And they go, well, we're never going to pass. What we're going to do, we elected everybody to make sure that they don't fund Planned Parenthood. And what happens? Planned Parenthood funding stays in there, and most of the time it goes up. And everybody's going, well, we did the best we could. You did literally nothing on this one thing. Yeah, but on other stuff, we did stuff. Okay, fine, great, whatever. Then they go back and they reset the expectations so high that nobody's going to reach them. Nobody's going to reach, and then nobody can live up to it. You set a purity test. And like, to be a true conservative, your beliefs have to be as pure as the cocaine that Hunter Biden did off of a naked prostitute from Eastern Europe who was clearly trafficked and most likely underage that nobody seems to give a damn about. Anybody notice that, by the way? He films himself with all these women. He posts it out there. They're clearly not into anything. They're just like wildly uncomfortable. They don't want to be on film. I'm sure that their pimp or whoever it is like telling them not to be on film. They're worried probably about being beaten. They're clearly trafficked from Eastern Europe. Some of them look vaguely underage, and nobody goes, well, we'll never find these people. Their faces are right there. Reporters, industrious reporters, could find somebody if they wanted to, even somebody who's being human trafficked. They could. Somebody will have escaped, or somebody would know. Somebody knows where these people are. Nobody bothers. It's weird because Taylor Lorenz over at the Washington Post can track down anonymous Twitter users because they put out memes that they approve of, that she disapproves of. She can spare no expense and find them, show up at relatives' houses and demand answers. The public needs to know. But obvious people who are human trafficked in a horrible situation, being exploited by a deranged junkie pervert, and we're 2 years into this, 3 years into this, and everybody's like, we'll never know who these people are. It's amazing the answers you can't find if you don't ask the questions, isn't it? It's just really mind-boggling how we'll never find those people. We'll never find those people. But anyway, back to the cocaine purity. Now, back to the purity test that the Republicans have. They have this belief that everybody must be as pure as the wind-driven snake. Nobody is. Think of it this way. There's nobody you agree with 100% except you. Not a single human being. If you found somebody you agreed with, who agreed with you 100%, is like everything you said, yes, boss, that's right, boss. Oh, yeah, man, that's good stuff. They're your little tattooer. If you remember the big dog and the little dog in the old Looney Tunes, where the little dog's jumping around going, yes, boss. Yeah, well, you're the best, boss. Somebody was like that, you'd have no respect for them. If everything I imagine it's a lot like what being Taylor Swift or Leonardo DiCaprio is like. When do you think the last time either of those two heard the word no was? From anybody who could make it stick. If somebody even jokingly says no just in the wrong tone of voice, they're probably out of the entourage and not going to make the next, luxury yacht vacation. So nobody's going to say no. Everybody's like, oh, that's the funniest joke ever. I really like the way you played that dare game with my fingers and the steak knife, because you only cut off 2 of those fingers, boss. That's a improvement over my right hand. So, congratulations on that. It's just a perverted worldview. You don't want to be around people who exclusively believe and agree with you. You'd be like a Democrat. They're the Borg. They have the collective mind. The collective mind does not need to be given orders. They just know. So people are going to be out there going, Byron Donald's he's too conservative, or he's not conservative enough on this issue. He's too close to Donald Trump. He's not close enough to Donald Trump on it. Just get somebody. Who is it that's going to be speaker? A temporary speaker is not, you're just forfeiting your majority. If you go, well, we're going to do a bipartisan sort of thing where we just have an acting speaker with a little bit more power so we can get some legislation done. What do you think that legislation is? It's Joe Biden's, we need $105 billion for Israel and Ukraine. We need it for Israel and Ukraine. You notice that? That's all you'll get done. Nothing important will get done. When it comes time to refunding the government, we'll get another continuing resolution. No budgets are going to pass, nothing. And then Republicans will reform their circular firing squad and start taking out people. It'll be King of the Hill. At the hill, they're lowering the hill. And it'll be the last person standing on, I'm the champion of what? You just gave the House of Representatives back to Democrats. Congratulations. Well done. So I got nothing against Byron Donalds, but I can promise you there will be people with stuff against Byron Donalds. Now, if Byron Donalds gets in there, or whoever gets in there at this point, if it is not a temporary speaker, it'll be somebody where the rest of the caucus just goes, I don't even care anymore. Because again, I ask you, what difference does a speaker make? Nancy Pelosi was able to bust heads, get a lot of Democrats to look at their own political self-interest and go, all right, I'll vote for Obamacare anyway, even though it's going to cost me my job. And 60, some of them, got their rear ends handed to them by the voters. But they got the legislation. You will never see that for Republicans. Republicans will not take a principled stand and go, you know what, I'm going to vote this way, even though it's going to cost me my job. I believe in this issue so fervently do I. There just is nothing. There's nothing like that. It's weird watching these people profess that their principles force them to vote against somebody when their principles are malleable. Their principles are Play-Doh. Principles are Play-Doh that never hardens. They're like the perfect Play-Doh that you never have to keep buying more of. We're about, 90% of the Republicans in the House of Representatives and in the Senate ran back in 2010 in the Tea Party thing, and even if they were there beforehand or came after, what were they promising? We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. We're going to do that. We're going to bring freedom and liberty and individual responsibility back into the health care. We're going to get government out of it. They don't even try anymore. Have you noticed that? They didn't try. They got to the one point where they had the one piece of legislation that John McCain came in and gave his thumbs down to, and that was it. They all kind of just went, well, we gave it a shot, moving on. They were one vote away. Nobody thought to go to John McCain and say, hey, Johnny, what do you need to go from a no to a yes? What can we do to this piece of legislation? Just to see, just for fun, is what John McCain needs anything that we could do without losing anybody else? We just tweak it a little bit. We maybe throw some sort of, I don't know, $500,000 cactus study in there for the University of Arizona. Can we get that? We got we airdrop kegs of Miller Lite into Arizona State. on a game day. Is that going to be enough to get you the, we'll buy them from your wife's distribution company. Will that be enough? What do we have to do? It's like it never even happened. Like ServPro came through and just sucked all the memory out of it and it was gone. They never once again tried to repeal or replace Obamacare. What is the Republican plan on health care right now? As a former health policy analyst at the Heritage Foundation, I can promise you they have nothing. It's nothing. There might be a couple of bills floating around out there that are not really being pushed or anything. They're just there in case Democrats decide to do something on it, and then they can say, well, here's our plan. We have our plan. Our plan's ready to go. Why haven't you been pushing for it? Reasons and stuff. I can tell you they live in fear of most of these things. They talk a good game. Republicans, nothing is more principled on the face of the earth than a Republican out of power. A Republican out of power will do anything and will not be told by anybody what they have to do. They are right there, damn it. They're the best. Unacceptable what Democrats are doing. They'll destroy this country. I have a plan to do it. And then suddenly Republicans come in power and they go, you called my bluff. So I can understand the public's looking at these people and going, I don't want anything to do with these people. And then you add into it the inability of them to pick a leader amongst themselves, and you go, these people don't deserve to lead. These people do not deserve to lead. At a certain point, all the bad that Democrats do is going to look better than Republicans do. It will. And it's hard to believe. Gas prices up, inflation up, food you can't get out of a grocery store for less than $60 or $70 for no matter what you're doing. Democrats will blame that on Republicans. Republicans will be too busy talking about how they're going to, I don't know, whatever. We need to rebuild the military. Okay, great. I can't afford to feed my family. We need to rebuild the military. Agreed. But we also need to be able to feed our... Yeah, we're going to rebuild the military. Okay, congratulations there. At a certain point, you got to do the job. You got to, as they say, do your business or get off the pot. And they're incapable of it. I don't know if Byron Donalds is the unifier. I don't know if he's the guy. He's gotten into little scraps over time, especially between the Trump and McCain people, because he is fervently pro-Donald Trump. Nothing wrong with that, but there are ways to be fervently pro-Donald Trump without being a jerk. And sometimes people choose the easy path, which is just being a jerk. So it'll be interesting to see who else over the weekend decides to throw their hat might as well throw their scalp into the ring at this point. Throw your scalp into the ring and say, all right, see what you can do. But if you're looking for somebody who's going to appeal to all Republicans, the closest they have, sad to say, is Kevin McCarthy. They could put Kevin McCarthy back in there. They could. At this point, if nobody comes around on Tuesday, then they've got to put somebody back in there. If you think Kevin McCarthy, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's the worst. He's just ever. How is he worse than anybody else you got? Anybody else you've had? Would you rather have John Boehner or Kevin McCarthy? Well, I'd rather have neither. Well, you don't really get a choice. You don't even have a vote. But at a certain point, you do have to pick because you've got to do what comes next. You're never going to win a boxing match by punching yourself repeatedly in the face. That's what Republicans are doing. So we'll see if they wise up. The smart money's on them not, because history has shown that they're not very good at that. But every once in a while, the stopped clock is right twice a day axiom comes into play. And when every other option has been thoroughly exercised, Republicans will eventually do the right thing. We'll see. Oh, man. Time is just flying by. We're basically at the halfway point. Greta Turnbergler's out there tweeting her. She tweets a message, I stand with Gaza. And then she's got a stuffed octopus in the back, which is an old Nazi trope about the Jews trying to extend their tentacles all around the world. And I didn't realize that. Sorry about that. So then she crops out the octopus and retweets it. I didn't want to offend the Jews, but I do want to make it abundantly clear that I absolutely, positively, 100% stand with the terrorists. Okay, Greta, we see you. Children of the Corn. He wants you too, Malachi. He wants you too. I just saw this on Twitter. Congressman Mike Collins out of Georgia. He's tweeting out screen captures of a whole bunch of people saying Mike Collins for speaker. Let's put Mike Collins in speaker. And he tweeted out, I don't know if this is a joke or not, but he tweets it out with a comment. Many people are saying, and there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's like 8 people saying it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's more people than saying I should be speaker. Saying that Mike Collins should be speaker. We're never going to get there. Because you sit there and you go, who's Mike Collins? Who are any of these people? If aside from your member of Congress, can you name 4 other members of Congress? Aside from somebody you saw on Fox, can you name other members of Congress? Fox only has like 7 members of Congress that they have on. There's 535 members of Congress up there, and a couple more if you count the territories. And there's like 5 of them, 6, 7 maybe on a good day or good week where they have them. Think about it. It's Lindsey Graham. You know them all. You go, and then you watch a Senate roll call vote. There's only 100 senators. The roll call vote in the House takes forever, as we've seen with these speaker votes. But a roll call vote in the Senate takes a while. It's 100 people. And you have no idea who these people are. And you go, Senator Wadsworth, what kind of a senator? Who? Yeah, we're being ruled anonymously, and we're sitting here fighting over which anonymous person is going to lead a group of people who really can't get anything done anyway. But the whole world is screeching to a halt while the world is burning. And you go, congratulations, guys. And then you get the fundraising emails, and you think, I'm going to give you a dime for this? We're at the halfway point, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. Boy, howdy, the stupid never stops. I'm not Vince Coglianese. Vince is off today. I think he'll be back on Monday. I'm Derek Hunter. You can find me at patreon.com/Derek Hunter Podcast or DerekHunter.locals.com for a weekly week and blank and review podcast or daily podcast, wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. Town Hall, 4 days a week. The Hill, 1 day a week. And then randomly throughout the world, all other days of the week. Did you guys get that audio that I sent you there? Because that is something to behold. All right, we'll get that ready in a second, because every once in a while you come across something where you're just like, the system is broken. The system is broken. Make no mistake. But you also have to sit there and you go, how did it get this broken? And the only answer is progressive Democrats. That's it. It's always, whenever it has to do with crime, you can guarantee, you can promise yourself there's going to be a progressive Democrat behind it, where they go, well, why was this person out on the street? It's never hardcore conservative District Attorney Johnson let this person go. Nobody ever says that. Because of this Republican conservative district attorney, prosecutor, whatever, this monster was on the street. I don't think that's ever been read. It's like, this Democratic prosecutor released him without bail because the city council decided that to hold somebody would be just wrong. Always. You see somebody, Baltimore, D.C., Chicago, they killed somebody, and a shocking development. And you go, well, what was their record like? Well, have you ever seen War and Peace? That's like the Cliff Notes version of this guy's record. You go, why the hell was he on the street? Like, well, there's too many people in prison. We've criminalized everything. The school to prison pipeline. And the left never goes, well, we should probably shut that pipeline down. They talk about the horrible pipeline, and they just decide they need to shut down the prisons. Too many people are going through the school to prison pipeline. We need to keep them out of the prisons. Okay, what do you want to do about it? Well, let's just close the prisons. And then when they come out that pipeline, instead of going to prison, they're right back in their neighborhoods where they committed the crime. That doesn't seem like a very good plan. How about, here's an idea. We deal with the school problem, the school part of the problem, because it's the school to prison pipeline. The left always goes, prison's the problem, prison's the problem. I would say it's the school that's funneling people into this pipeline that goes directly to prison. Maybe you want to look at the schools. No, they go, no, never, never, never. Because the teachers union own them. So they're never going to say, yeah, you know what, the biggest problem we have for the country right now facing is Randy Weingarten. Yeah, that's it. They're never going to do that. So they just ignore the problem. So a whole bunch of people, degenerates, I can't say, and it's going to be reported as they fell through the cracks, but they didn't actually fall through the cracks. They walked through the door. They aren't cracks. They're wide open doors. This is by design that these people are out on the streets. Then you get a situation like this where there is zero good excuse for it. But there it is. And of course, it's out in California. Of course, it's out in, by the way, the governor of California is headed over to Israel. Haven't they been through enough? But yeah, Governor Hairdo is on the plane over there. Coming. He gave him fair warning. But yeah, poor people. Meanwhile, of course, California is problem-free, so Governor Hairdo can fly over there. But the Libs of TikTok tweeted this out. It's from the ABC affiliate out there in San Francisco. It is an interview. It's a report with a guy named Joe Moore, Joseph Adam Moore. He's 46 years old. Now, I'm going to give you a few more details about Mr. Moore here before you hear this clip. They give some of the details, but I want to fill in some of the blanks, just so you know what you're doing with. He's set up out in California, degenerates, junkies, and pretty much everybody you can imagine has set up tents around the city, on the sidewalks, wherever they want. It's like the biggest campgrounds ever. It's a wonderful thing. If you don't mind, stepping over needles and human feces, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And this one happens to be across for Mr. Moore, happens to be right across the street from a school. I don't even know if it's across the street. It's just out from the school property on the public sidewalk. The problem is, here's a little bit about Mr. Moore's background, a little more detail than you're going to get in this report. Joseph Adam Moore, 46, was imprisoned for 6 years for sex crimes, having molested a 12-year-old girl, and was accused of having sex with a 15-year-old girl just a month after getting out of prison, according to records obtained by the San Francisco Standard. Now, you're probably sitting there going, what the hell is that dude doing anywhere near a school? But then you got to remember, this is happening in San Francisco. This is the tenure track. This guy's like a year away from getting tenure in the San Francisco school system. Listen to this. Cut 6. Go ahead.
I've been in San Francisco basically homeless for 26 years.
46-year-old Adam Moore tells me he has lived on the sidewalk across the street from Stella Maris Academy for more than 2 years, and that his sign offering free fentanyl for new users is no joke. Moore says he's just passing on the drugs that other people give him in exchange for blankets and supplies he provides.
They feel bad if they don't reciprocate, so they bring me trash that they've scavenged, things that they think are valuable. Or they give me some of the drugs that they have, which I don't do.
You're exposing grade school kids to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not right. You know that.
No, it's, it's shallow.
The kids come out of the school and they see this?
Yeah, I only live by 2 rules. Be kind to others and make it look easy for children.
The Richmond District Police Captain told me they recently tried an undercover sting on Moore, but he didn't have any drugs at the time. However, it's his past that's led to some concerns. Moore is on the Megan's Law website for lewd and lascivious acts with a child under the age of 14.
I was innocent of all of the charges that I've been accused of, convicted of.
Moore is apparently not considered a high-risk offender, so he does not have to follow the rule to stay 2,000 feet away from any school.
And I was told that he is in compliance with all of the components of what his sex registration are.
Don't you just love that? Only in San Francisco, kids. Only in San Francisco. He's got a sign outside his tent, free fentanyl for new users. Do we have a problem with fentanyl? Now, is he really giving away fentanyl? He says he is. He swears he is. He sounds like he's demented. He probably should be committed. He probably should have never gotten out of prison. I don't know how you get, 6 years for molesting a 12-year-old girl? That's it? 6 years? And again, San Francisco, you heard him. He's been homeless on the streets of San Francisco for, 26 years? And he's sitting outside a school. A convicted child molester. Like, well, he's just a run-of-the-mill child molester. We don't really have to worry about that. We're not going to make him. He's not one of those 2,000 feet away child molesters. Are there really degrees of child molestation where you can look at it and go, no, you're cool to be around kids? Now, I got to be honest with you. I'll be careful here. But when I look at this report and as I hear about this story, I can't help but remember what would happen if this had happened, or think what would have happened if this was anywhere near where I grew up. My dad would have beaten absolute hell out of it. All the fathers in the neighborhood would have beaten holy hell out of this guy. There's no question about it. There's no hesitation. There's not like, well, I think there would have been a meeting where they sat around and talked about this and maybe came to a different conclusion and they sent a strongly worded letter and they said, listen to you, kind sir, I challenge you to a duel, or go slap him across the face with an empty glove and be like, high noon tomorrow, sir, we will duel with swords. No. This guy would have, at a minimum, every one of his earthly possessions would have been thrown into the garbage on a daily basis, would have been set on fire, would have disappeared. Whatever it was, this guy's life, he would have ended up calling the police. He would have been, and I can't imagine the police are like, they go up to a guy dragging his tent down the street, and they're like, where'd you get that tent? What tent? Oh, well, I don't see a tent either. Moving on. We did our investigation, and we found no tent. That's how things would have been handled in the past when you get somebody evil like this. But instead, this guy would probably have an ACLU-provided live streaming camera making sure that everything that happens around his little tent with the sign that says free fentanyl for new users. And the ACLU would have immediately snapped into action and sued you if anybody tried to do anything to this guy. The left is very, very concerned about the rights for degenerates. Isn't that weird? It's just one of those. I came across that story and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And no, there's no kidding. That's the world. That's the world. That's California. This story, it's a couple weeks old. You've probably heard about it. But since we're talking about California, USA Today, California creates ebony alert for missing black women and children. Here's how it works. This is USA Today, the nation's hotel doormat. Missing black people in California will have a specialized alert notification after Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill creating the ebony alert. Okay, so, I mean, I know that Democrats, they invented it. And they thoroughly love it and embrace it. And then the I'm talking about is, of course, segregation. It's their go-to. It's their jam. I say it all the time only because it's true. Democrats have never changed their objective. They've only changed their tactics. Segregation, because this race is inferior. And they're like, oh, the times have changed. People ain't going for it. All right, let's find a new justification because I still don't want to mix them up. Oh, wait, here we go. Segregation in the name of tolerance. Brilliant. Brilliant. We should have separate graduation ceremonies and high school and college dances and dormitories and everything in the name of tolerance. Yes, if it were in the name of any other thing, it would be looked at as the bigoted horror that it is. But because it's done in the name of tolerance, everybody goes, oh, well, there you go. Tolerance. Oh, what? Are you intolerant of bigots? Kind of, yeah. So what do you... No. We have to create a safe space for people. It's always white Chardonnay sipping suburbanite wealthy women. We need... Yeah, I'll write you a check to your organization that makes sure that the minorities have a safe space for themselves so they can get away from those evil right-wingers. Wait, it's going to be down the block from here? Well, no, that's not. I'm not going to write a check to that. Oh, you'll move it across town? Well, then I'll definitely write a check to that. Not in my backyard. No way. The closest I like to come to interacting with anybody who's got a tan or anything beyond a tan is when my gardener comes by and collects the money and then I don't even speak to him. I just leave the check in an envelope on the porch, on the veranda. There are always people who have verandas. This is the modern left. They want segregation down to the point of missing persons? Yes, they do. Now, it's weird because I'm not old enough to remember it, but in the civil rights thing, I wasn't around then, but in the civil rights time, they were fighting against segregation. And now the civil rights leaders are fighting for segregation. It's very bizarre. They cheer it. We've got it. We now have special interest. You remember I can't remember the girl's name. The really cute blonde girl, like 19 years old, killed by her boyfriend out in the, I don't know, one of the parks out west. Horrible story. It should have never been a national news story. But in the hierarchy of things, of how the media decides what is newsworthy and what isn't, first of all, if it involves a celebrity, the disappearance, they'll do it. And then if it involves an attractive white woman, preferably blonde, whether she's the victim or the perp, they will go all in. They'll cover the trial. It doesn't matter where on the globe it is. That woman who was accused of murder in Italy is a prime example. They don't have to be just the victims. They can be the accused perp. And the media goes all in. Greta Van Susteren is dispatched somewhere to go and cover this thing. Nancy Grace, they dust her off and throw her out there. This is going to be, we're going to quickly make a documentary about this. It's the most important thing ever. From there, from celebrity to attractive white woman, it goes to a minority as a victim and the white person as the perpetrator or a cop. If the cop is the same ethnicity as the minority as the victim, it doesn't matter. Cop trumps everything. And then after that, they don't care about anything. Nothing. And then way down at the bottom in the basement is black on black crime, which is, if you really care about human life, that's what you should be talking about. But the left doesn't care about human life. And you look at all this stuff and you go, that seems perverted. And then when that girl disappeared, what happened? MSNBC, especially Joy Reid, went all in going, oh, they're only caring about this. They're only reporting on this. This is a media story. It's only happening because she's an attractive white girl. I'm like, yeah, that's right. She goes, what about the black and indigenous girls who are missing, go missing? There are hundreds of black and indigenous girls who go missing every single year, and you don't see anything about that. And you're like, yeah, all right, there you go. And then she listed some of them. And she chastised the media about their failure to cover this thing. And I thought to myself, Joy, do you know anybody with a TV show? Maybe, just throwing a spitball in here. But if you care so deeply about this, you could probably talk about it, Just saying. And she did that day. And then the next day, she went back to complaining about Republicans because she didn't really care. She saw an opportunity to attack Republicans, to attack conservatives, and go, they're the ones that do this. And meanwhile, her network did the exact same thing. They're all guilty of that. They're all pathetic. But the vast majority of the media that paid the most attention to that case and to all these cases is always left-wing media. Why? Because, as I said, they have a hierarchy of things. They really only care about it. Democrats have never changed their objectives. They've only changed their tactics. It's really gross, but it's really true. Greta Turdburglar. She'll be missed. Or whatever. I don't know. One more hour to go, and we'll get into them there, Jews and the left's hatred of it. Boy, howdy, do they dislike the Jew. I don't know. It's like you got to put the doll down and show me on the doll where the nice Jewish man beat you. Because I'm not really sure that I believe that happened. But the left, they hate him. They cheer him. They take to the streets. They do this, that, and the other. It's all called progressive. It's it actually is progressive if you know the history of progressives. It's right there with it. The originators of it, the OGs of hate over there. So we'll get to that and so much more. There's one more hour to go. You're not going to want to miss it. So whatever you had planned, cancel it. We'll be right back.